Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Realm Live. We're doing another indie horror roundtable. Tonight, I have with us some amazing Black indie horror film directors, and we're going to ask and answer some controversial questions. All right. So, real quick, it's your first time coming here. Please hit that like and subscribe button. It definitely helps this channel grow. And we here at the Horror Realm, we want to support indie horror. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to shoot over to our first guest today. We have indie horror.
Think Travis freeze frame.
Yeah, I was glad that wasn't just me.
Yeah. Like, I am a freeze frame too.
I thought, I was like, ah, crap, I froze too. Like,
Oh, we'll figure it out.
mm-hmm.
Oh, he'll be back. I think he'll be back.
So are you in Baltimore too?
No, I'm in the suburbs of Chicago. I'm like 40
Oh,
minutes from Chicago. I'm based in Aurora, Illinois.
oh yeah, I was
Oh,
in
okay.
Chicago last year. Here we go.
Oh, cool.
So you're back, Travis. You went.
Yes, I'm back. I'm back.
So what order are we going in?
Yes. So by the way, Chris,
Yeah.
thank you so much for recommending um, the Adams family. Oh my goodness, their movies are amazing. Great interview. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of Vic Effects, which is right now streaming on Tubi. Definitely check that out.
Oh, Evil Alerts.
And Evil Alerts, yes, Evil Alerts, yes.
Soon, Vic Effects.
Vic Effects is coming out soon. But by the way, and there's a crowdfunding out right now for that, correct?
Well, we're gonna be launching the crowdfund sometime in October. We'll be talking more about it when September hits. But yeah, right now we've been putting a lot of work into the production of Vic Effects. We're heading into post, so we're gonna need some help with certain things we want to try to do. We got some cool perks and all these other good things. You know how that goes with crowdfund. So yeah, Vic Effects will have our crowdfund sometime in October, early October. So
Looking forward to it, man. I'm gonna get you back on the show to talk about it as well.
yeah, awesome.
Yes. All right.
Awesome.
And next we have with us. Listen, we've actually met in person. He came to Baltimore from California, and we actually walked around the Baltimore Museum of Art. I have with us Peter Ravlin. Peter, welcome back to the Horror Realm, man.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here, and it's great to see you again.
And tell us a little bit about your work, my friend.
I'm a filmmaker based on the Mendocino Coast. I do a little bit of everything, but I've made a few few entries in the horror genre. My latest is a giallo thriller called Till Your Last Breath. Hopefully it's going to be out by the end of this month. And I am starting production on a cyberpunk short film.
Love it, man. And Peter's a great guy. And like I said, very few people actually get to meet me in person because they see me at horror conventions. They're like, "You were there? I didn't see you," but like we got to meet in person, and he was amazing with my nephew. My nephew loved him. So, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and shoot to the first topic for tonight. So the first topic I'm going to bring up: as a Black filmmaker, do you feel like there's pressure to make films for specifically Black audiences?
Do you want to go, Chris?
You can go for it, Peter. Yeah.
I would say that's a yes and no situation. People assume that you're going to tell Black stories. I think when people see us, they just expect us all to be like Spike Lee or what's his name? The guy who did Cooley High, Michael. Also the last. I guess they expect us all to be like one of those people. In my situation, I don't have a lot of opportunities to tell traditional Black stories, partly because I didn't live the traditional Black experience. Aside from living in like some inner cities briefly, I'm half white. And does anyone remember School Ties, that Spike Lee movie when Lawrence Fishburne calls light skinned Black people octarine?
Yes.
The school days.
Yeah, School Days. Yeah, School Days. I
Yeah.
think. Well, his word for me is octarine. Never heard that word before.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
watching that, and I was all like, it's interesting as you get older, like some things that seem cool, it's like seem stupid. Like I could have seen myself wanting to join a fraternity like that back in the day. But point being, like I didn't live the traditional Black experience. Half white, had a white dad. Have people in colors in my life, of course, but and I'm on the coast, which is not very diverse, so I don't really get to tell the Black experience, and I often cast white people or whoever is available. So if anyone wants me to tell a story about Black people, I don't have that option. However, I would like to remake The People Under the Stairs, and I got other ideas. Hopefully,
You're probably
I
too
didn't
late
go.
for that. 'Cause I think Jordan Peele is about to take
Yeah.
that one. I heard that his production company's gonna remake that one,
Oh,
That's
which
what I
is a
heard too.
phenomenal movie.
my ideas.
Great
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't carry on too long. I hope I made some kind of sense.
1%. Now, Chris, now you and I actually kind of talked about this during your interview. What are your feelings?
Well, I am Black, African American, whatever people want to call it. You know, I grew up on the west side of Chicago. I lived in, you know, predominantly Black neighborhoods most of my life. I live out in the suburbs now. I'm in an interracial relationship. You know, I have a wife who's white and I have kids that are biracial. But it's weird with me, man, because I kind of built my energy into a place of not really caring what people, you know, think of me or how they want to put me in a box. It goes a lot hand to hand because I'm a musician and I've played in metal bands and I played in different types of different genres. I've done stuff. Dealt with stuff in pop and hip hop and rock and metal and all these different aspects. So incorporating that into my filmmaking. Me personally, I don't feel any pressure. No one's pressured me as far as like what kind of films I should make as a black filmmaker. And in all honesty, I haven't met a lot of filmmakers of color to have to kind of go into that, to kind of go into that conversation. I like what I like. I enjoy, when we talk about black, people say black films,
Yeah.
people would say am I gonna make movies like Tyler Perry? Like Tyler Perry,
Yeah.
the thing is Tyler Perry built his brand on the black people. His like
100%.
BET, most of the shows on BET is Tyler Perry movies.
Empire.
Shows. Everything, all those things, him and I forgot the other guy's name. Who does a lot of production. Lee Daniels.
Yes.
And he's black and gay, so he's
Yeah.
so he
Both
got all
sides.
kinds of stuff on. Yeah, he's in a different, he's kind of like I'm black and gay, man. Okay, and I'm gonna make movies and I'm being successful at doing it. And they make those things, and yeah, and somebody like Tyler Perry built his billion or close to $1 billion empire, making black content for black folks. Me personally, I mean, I know what I like, and I always kind of stay true to me as an artist and the kind of movies that I like to make. Now, do I think the kind of movies I make is movies that people of color or black people will watch? Probably not, but I'm not I'm not too concerned about that when it
Why
comes
do you
to
feel that way?
huh?
Why do you feel that way?
As far as not caring what people think, or
No, but why do you think the average black person wouldn't want to watch
a
your
black
movie?
person wouldn't want to watch my
Mm-hmm.
show? I don't know, man. I think when I look at the kind of films I make, and I'm not saying black people aren't, you know, artsy and they're not open minded to the stuff that because people would consider my film art house horror. They would consider, it's trippy, it's mind fuckery,
It is
psychological
that.
type stuff. And I'm not and black people like Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Black people like Friday the 13th. Trust me, I've been to plenty of theaters watching
Yes.
Halloween movies where they like, oh, get out of there, bitch, she a witch.
Yeah.
You know? It's true though, but I'm not
Yes.
going to sugarcoat it. I mean, if this is controversial, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I'm black and it's 2024, so we kind of say what we want now. We got
Yes.
that voucher, right? So I'm gonna hold on to it. So my thing is, yeah, black people like slasher. They like blood. They no different than white folks. But the kind of movies I'm making, they're they fall into a drama aspect, and then there's some gore, and then there's some craziness and horror type stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where I'm coming from. Like black folks like fucking they'll like
Straight to the point.
slasher type
Straight to the
movies.
point.
So
Straight
that's
to the
that's
point,
no different than a white person. Like, because when we talk about black movies, people are gonna look when people first talk about black movies, especially now, they're gonna say, "Oh, Tubi movies." I'm like, no,
Yeah.
ain't. We went in Tubi like, I don't know why they call them Tubi movies. We ain't giving us money. It's just on Tubi. I'm not talking about those, but we're this is the horror realm. So we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
horror. Black folks like slasher, and they like
Yes.
motherfuckers up. They like those kind of movies. I was in those, those. I was in theaters where there was predominantly black folks in there, and we was watching Halloween movies, and we was
Mm-hmm.
watching Freddy movies. We watched Freddy versus Jason, and there was black folks, and we watched any of those kind of movies. Yeah, I mean, because black folks like those movies too. They go to horror conventions. They and all that stuff. My kind of movies that I make, which only have one feature, yeah, people will call it a psychological art house horror movie. So
Yeah. And I agree. Like I feel like black audience when it comes to horror, they like it straight to the point, straight to the killing.
oh yeah,
They don't like that build up. But that's why I've always said that, the average person who's not black would say that Jordan Peele movies are made for black people. And I'm like, no. Jordan Peele movies are not made for black people because they don't get straight to the point. They don't get that instant kill gratification. It's a slow burn artsy style movie.
yeah. And I personally don't fully think all his movies are horror. I think they're more.
No.
I think Get Out is thriller with a horror element, and we can put all these little seasonings on stuff. Nope. To me, was not a horror movie.
Sci-fi.
I think the beginning of that movie
It's
was
cosmic horror. It's
that
cosmic
monkey, yeah,
horror.
cosmic horror, if you want to call it. Yeah.
Cosmic horror. It's like one of the best examples I've seen of cosmic horror. And it's not strictly horror because all his movies are like hybrids between comedy and social commentary and horror, and it doesn't flow exactly perfectly, but it's always interesting. And it's like getting like I don't know, like a exotic fruit salad where I was like, what is this? It's like, this is kind of interesting. And I think about it later, like, that salad's pretty good.
Something's missing though in the salad because the way you just described that, I don't want to get on a whole Jordan Peele conversation because I don't want him to find and say, "Hey, I remember you talking shit about it," and I'm not talking shit. That was a fruit salad, and the peanuts is missing, and I'm like, "Why these peanuts? Why these? I mean, this is good, but something's the salt and the sweetness is missing." And I always felt like when the beginning of Nope was a horror movie. That should have been the movie. I was like, whoa, this dude is phenomenal, but it's always something that's missing. Like Us, man, that could have been a brilliant movie, but something was missing. Get Out, Diamond in the Rough. That was something that worked, and when we first saw the preview, we were like, oh, Jordan Peele, it's gonna be a comedy. Then we watched it, like, damn, this was like really good.
It's deep.
I still consider it a thriller.
Go see Get Out, and I went to this one theater that was shaped like a maze, and when I thought I got into that theater, I walked up to this one film. I said, "Hi, could you tell them I'm in the right theater?" And they just said, "Get out." I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry." Like, "Oh, you're oh yes." Yeah.
I'm like, already, man. I ain't saying nothing.
Shit.
I was like, "Get out!" Like, "Geez, man, I'm sorry. I just had to
Man.
bust you."
Dude.
But Travis, you made
Yeah.
another interesting point or another interesting query that Jordan Peele's movies aren't made for black people, and I would say, yeah, you're right. They're not made for that specific demographic, like the way Tyler Perry's movies definitely are. But like they put like leading black people in like major roles, which I really like.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, a lot of people, honestly, though, for Get Out, that was because that's the thing. He made how many movies? Three movies. So it's like he don't have a body of work to kind of. But Get Out did bring a lot of black folks up in there, and because people was like, oh, okay, it was and that was controversial anyway because it was like black people want to be a part, white people want to be a part of what black people do because we can run fast and we can do all these athletic things, which is bullshit because I got a bad lower back problem. My knee hurt. I can't run.
Me too.
My 3-year-old can run faster than me.
Basketball.
And he half white, so there you go. So,
Yeah. Well,
but
oh, you know what? I can't dance and I can't sing.
Yeah.
I'm screwed.
I'm 6'4" and I'm horrible at basketball. So there we go.
Oh yeah, man.
I like playing basketball, but I suck at it.
A lot of us, but it's cool. But no, it's man, and I guess in one aspect, when we talk about black filmmakers, especially in the horror, in the horror genre, yeah, there's not a lot of them. Now, there's not a lot of them in the forefront. There's probably plenty of black horror filmmakers, that's out there and that's getting stuff done. But like in the forefront, our thing is talking about Jordan Peele and his movies, and what about anyone else? And you could probably ask any people, like name three black filmmakers that make horror movies.
Rusty, whatever that guy who made Tales from the Hood. I guess it's Casey Lemons.
There you go. That was a black
There we go.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie.
Tales from the Hood.
When I was in high school, I had a crush on Casey Lemons. The Silence of the Lambs.
Oh.
Because
I'm in my 40s, so I remember Tales from the Hood.
That
was a good ass movie though.
I guess
that's a cult classic. That's underrated
movie.
But the crazy thing about it, so I've interviewed probably in a year and a half I've been doing this. I've probably interviewed probably a lot, over 100 indie horror filmmakers, and I can count on two hands how many black indie horror filmmakers I've interviewed. I mean, even when I was coming up with this idea for this roundtable, I was like, oh shit, who? Like it was hard to do. Like I could come up with 4 or 5 white indie horror directors like that. It's easy. I mean, but like there's not that many black horror directors. I mean, and black people, we love horror. We love horror.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, did you interview a husband and wife that was black?
From Africa, yes.
Yeah, okay. So there you go.
From Africa,
right? Mm-hmm. Our homeland. Right.
Yes, exactly.
yeah. So I remember that. So I know you did that. So yeah, man. I don't. You know what? It's hard to be like, man, why ain't enough black? I mean, you can't really at this point in time with the resources that all filmmakers have, whether you're big budget, low budget, DIY, all that stuff. You have the resources. So it's not like a matter of like, man, somebody holding us down. We can't make movies. Yes, you can. But yeah, I followed you before I got on, before you interviewed me, and then I saw some of the stuff, and then I just see how, you're like relentless, man. You're working and interviewing everybody. And I watch, 85% of your show because sometimes I can't keep up because you just like boom, 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 doing interviews left and right. So it's like, yeah, man, when it's at this point, and I don't know if this will be controversial or not. I'm like, at this point, I don't know where they at either. But I'm not. But
But there
Yeah,
are black.
no one's stopping anybody from making movies. Like no one's stopping me to say, Chris, you can't make movies. You black and you can't make horror movies, especially blah blah blah. You know, so I don't know what the issue is, or if it is an issue, or but yeah, the curiosity of like where are we? You know, as
But there's
horror filmmakers.
but there's tons of black indie filmmakers because
Oh
we
yeah,
talk about Tubi. It's filled. I mean, it's
oh
filled
yeah,
with them. So,
yeah.
but they stick with the pimps, hoes, strippers, drug dealers style urban exploitation films.
I mean, it's I don't.
All that area, because that sells, and that's all there is to the black experience, according to some people.
There's actually a YouTube video about the new blaxploitation, and they focus on Tubi movies because I always call it everything's a recycling mindset. I see people wearing certain type of clothes. I'm like, that's dope. I wore that in '89. Like that just now that's back in style. So when you go back to exploitation like Dynamite and Blackula and you know and all those different kind of movies and Foxy Brown and stuff, and then you bump into what's going on with with you know movies on Tubi, black oriented movies on Tubi. It's the new generation of that kind of vibe. But these guys make a living. They wake up, they put $10,000 into a budget, and then they make these movies, and they're walking home with $30,000-$40,000 a month on Tubi. Like the money's real.
And black people are watching them like crazy.
Yeah, like crazy. That if you ever got on that damn, if you ever got on that freaking Tubi, people watch Tubi Facebook group.
Oh yes, I'm in that.
Own it. They be on. Sometimes they get world star with shit, but I'm like, yo, get back to the movies. You know, it's like I want to see nobody getting beat up, at a pet store. Go back to the movies again.
It's great, but how many ads? Does it really need like 6 ads per commercial?
Oh, it's a lot of ads.
This thing, the more ads you got, the more money you're gonna make, because that's all about the ad revenue. If my movie showing it on 2 ads came, I'm like, damn it, I need more. Because that's how you make money. So that's how
do you get more ads? Well, how do you get more ads? Or do you have to be a popular movie in order?
You got to look at it's all. And I'm not an expert on this shit. Like you need to bring Jay Horton in. He'll tell you about.
Oh yeah, I love Jay.
that dude be on it. But and he treats me awesome the way he interacts with me and we correspond and stuff like that. He's a good dude and he support black people big time. So, but yeah, it's about the algorithm, and then if your movie's popular, the more views it get, the more ad revenue because you're getting paid. That's why Tubi make money. It ain't just all right, we'll watching movies. That's how they make money. I mean, Amazon's doing 2 minutes worth of commercial before they show the movie now. So I mean that's but going back to the new blaxploitation, if you want to call it that, they're making there's a shit ton of those, black filmmakers making those kind of movies, and I ain't mad at them. Is it something I watch? Probably a couple of times a year, just to I watch whatever Bang Bang Betty. That shit was hilarious.
It was
hilarious.
It's hilarious.
But that dude got so much hate. He got so much hate on that movie. People watched it. They hate watched it. Because he had like thousands of people just busting his balls, but they was watching the movie. Because they was commenting.
That's what all that matters.
And he's like coming back like, well, thank you for your time. And sometimes he'll come clap back, but he's like, yo, y'all watching my fucking movie. So it's like, whether you hate it or not, I'm doing all right. So it's saying this, y'all know it's a such thing as hate watch. You watch some shit that you just like, I hate this movie,
but I agree with you.
Cool. Like, I don't understand. I used to do that shit in high school. Like, I used to go watch Michael Bay movies and know I was gonna hate him. In retrospect, that's kind of dumb. But social media revert you back to your high school brain.
Yes,
y'all know this. Y'all know how
it really does.
So I heard some dude. He looked like he was fighting his 50. He said, "Your mama," and I'm like, "Why are you saying that? You're 50 years old. Why are you saying your mama?" You don't know what his mama going through. then people get childish, man, and it's
Yes.
I ain't gonna talk about social media because I'm on there and I do it for business and I meet great people. I met Travis on social media, so it
Exactly.
exists, and I'm always
Travis through social media.
Exactly. I met all of you guys.
yeah.
But I agree. You should see some of the comments that come on my videos like,
Oh
oh, you suck. Oh, you're stupid. I'm like, okay, like, come
man,
on. If you're going to say something like that, there should be a follow up thing. This is the reason why you suck, or this is why you're fucking stupid.
no,
Like, this don't, it is. All right, guys. I got a couple comments coming in. All right. First one is from Dan. I've been looking forward to this. I hope you all have a great night. Dan, thanks, man.
one of the nicest dudes out there. So real quick, because Dan is obviously part of what I'm doing, but Dan is one of the reasons why I'm casting this actor, Shonda Rollins, and she's a
I love
she,
Shonda. I
yeah.
love Shonda.
Yeah, and she's a great actor, and I've seen some of her movies, and he's like very passionate, like, man, there need to be more black representation in these films and blah blah blah. And he was throwing these people at me, and I grasped to her, and we've been talking for I'm working on my next script, and I'm having her involved in it. So yeah, man, he's a I guess he's an ally, but
Yes.
he's all about that though.
I love Shonda. She's in the DMV as well, which is, for people who don't know, DC, Maryland, Virginia. So
Yeah.
she's a DMVer. Yes, there's not that many black. There's not even that many black indie horror actors or actresses.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking it's her, like, and like she
Mhm.
is like the one that's really
She's
doing her thing.
man.
Yeah.
She's hustling, yeah. So and that's the thing with me, man. It's like the way I cast people, it has nothing to do. I don't do auditions. I just seek people out for the energy that I'm looking for. And that's how I correspond with people. So with her, and she's mixed race as well.
Mhm.
But with this project I'm working on, yes, she has a father. She has a white father and a black mother. So I was looking for her in that aspect. When it comes to that, and also in my movie Evil Lurks, we had an actor who's she's mixed race as well. So, and obviously I was in the movie, but I don't represent myself well. I played an asshole in that one. But yeah, but I love actors, man, and I'm always going by what makes sense for me. But I root for black. Like, one of my favorite filmmakers is Barry Jenkins. Now he's someone else who hasn't done a lot of shit. He's doing the next Lion King. I guess it's a prequel
Oh, is he?
to Mustafa. But Barry Jenkins is fucking phenomenal. And one of my all-time favorite movies is Moonlight. Like
Moonlight is amazing.
movement and angles on that movie. I take inspiration from that movie and put that into what I try to do with my stuff. And guess what? That was an artistic hood movie. That was a hood
100%.
movie. It was. But
And I saw that in the theaters, and it's a beautiful movie.
it's so beautiful. And then I think about, I'm like, man, who watched it? Black folk. Because I'm on the A24 group as well. Black folks watched the movie, but it was also people who, the thing was and it's true, and people can say what they want to say, but it's unfortunate. I think there's a stigma with black folks and homosexuality that there's a thing where we kind of still kind of push back, and it's not as accepted as it is now in this world. But it's
especially
still,
black men. Especially black men.
Exactly. It's always something. It's always something. You can say what you want to say about P. Diddy and all that stuff and blah blah blah, but it people bust his balls and all these different things, but we all was in that world where we like, man, that's gay, man, that's gay. And we took that and we made that into like this dark, bad word. So when people look back and say, "Oh, things I used to say back in the day" and all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, I'm 45, so I was in that generation. I look back and things I said until now, and I've never been homophobic and all these other things. I mean, I play in a band. We play. They love to ask us to play Pride Festival and shit. So we're all about it. But seeing that movie Moonlight and seeing how he crafted that, and then getting a guy who's hard and tough, and he was going through some things, but he was in love with a man. it's like shit, man. It's like that Barry Jenkins is a genius in my opinion. Like that dude's one of the greats, and he barely put out 4 freaking movies. He's phenomenal.
Powerful
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Okay. All right, Dan has another.
I saw that one like 3 times in the theater, and like his follow up, If Beale Street Could Talk. You remember that one?
And Regina King finally got her Oscar, so that was good too. Cause she was, I mean, when she did one of those monologues, yeah, she won an Oscar for that. She don't, it's gonna be a riot. So I'm glad she got her because she been in the business
forever.
Regina, I love Regina King. Yeah, but oh man, she's
she goes all the way back to Boys in the Hood, right?
Yeah, she go back to Boys in the Hood, and she did the 2 voices for Boondocks. I was watching them behind the scenes of that. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, that's right. She does. Yeah.
That was her.
I totally forgot. Right? Yeah, she did both.
That's right.
Brothers. Yeah. Yeah. So
I got this one friend who's from Oakland, and she's this one really built girl, and she sounded just like Riley from the Boondocks. I thought she was like the voice actor for Riley, but it was Regina King this entire time.
Yeah. She did both. She did. Both
I saw that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh.
And Dan says Shauna Rawlings is the greatest. I agree, Dan. And he also got another one. That Vic Effect shirt is dope, Chris.
Thanks.
And I got one more. Yeah. There's a point of no return. You watch a movie and you've invested so much time that you feel that you have to finish the film, even though you haven't liked it much. I 100% agree. I have stuck through so many movies. Damn. But I hate fucking movies where they start off great. They start off great and then boom, midway in, it just starts dropping, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna sit in because it has to get back to that peak. It's almost like I hear what like drug addicts saying, the first time you're chasing that high, you know what I mean? You think that it's gonna pick back up, and it never does.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
It's hard for me. I'm sorry. You want to say something, Peter?
I was gonna say like, there's been a few movies I thought this is gonna be great, and then it like went away. I think like I can't remember one example. There was this Hong Kong zombie movie that I thought was awful. I thought it was lame, but the fact is my remote wouldn't let me skip or rewind, and I once accidentally hit the off button to my remote, and so I only sat through it because I know that if I didn't, I would have to sit through it all over again.
Oh.
So would you watch? Were you streaming it, or was it a?
This was in the days when our town still had a DVD.
Oh, okay.
We still had a video store. We lost our video store last year. Broke my heart, but it was on like DVD, and it was a kind of DVD where you could just play it. You could not rewind or fast forward or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard for me to like just stop watching a movie because I'm like, I'm in it. I need to finish it. I'm just gonna suck it up. And I don't like to put shade on anything. I don't like to go off and bust people's balls about it. So I watch Skinamarink. I don't know if y'all seen that.
I have, yes.
Oh man! And I listened to what they had to say. They said, "Turn the lights off. Leave all." Because I leave one light on because I don't do all that. Turn the lights off because if I turn the lights off, I'm gonna fall asleep because I'm old. So I turned all the lights off. I listened to what they had to say, and I watched this movie. And when I was done, I was very upset. Very upset.
I thought the same way about Nefarious. So many indie filmmakers were saying, watching Nefarious is the greatest thing ever. And I was like, okay, let me watch this.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I never seen
something? That. Oh. I don't like bad mouthing any filmmakers because that's what I don't do. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's bad mouthing, and then there's like, I mean, if you're saying there's like room for improvement and not being overly critical.
It's boring. It's an extremely boring movie that goes absolutely nowhere. And listen, and I'm a Christian, right? But it has it's a I want to say it's a Christian themed horror movie, if that makes any sense, because it has this whole. I felt like they were trying to recruit people to Christianity, and I was shocked that so many indie filmmakers were saying this is a great movie, which I have nothing wrong with Christianity movies, but I was expecting something completely different, and I was like, this is not. Yeah, it had this whole but yes,
I think the Conjuring movies are Christian movies.
But if you watch Nefarious, it's something completely different, and it's hard to explain. But you watch it and you're like, oh, okay, this is something that's made by the Christian church or something like. You know what I mean? This is something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard about. Is that I'm thinking that movie's on Amazon.
It might be on Amazon now.
Yeah, Nefarious. I don't know if the cover have this guy. His face is kind of like warped.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's on my watch list.
Wait, did this come out recently? Like, or does this one have Jesse Eisenberg in it?
2020.
This came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years.
I don't think I heard
of
it.
Well, so I have okay for the next topic. This is a fun short one. All right, before we get into our main topic. Okay. And the topic is, why does Candyman kill Black people? Chris, I'm gonna have you start off with this one.
They take all the damn candy. Like, they took my motherfucking candy. Okay. I was waiting to say that joke. Now I'm gonna be serious. All right. I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't help that he's in Cabrini Green. He's in a predominantly Black area. It's hard for me to even answer that question because he died from white folks because he was hanging out with white chicks. So, like, why you killing all these Black folks?
Poor Black people too.
Yeah. So, wait, he did. But his first victim, he killed some white people. I mean,
he did.
Yeah. When he killed Ted Raimi's girlfriend. Like the movie. The other thing that's unbelievable about the first one is Ted Raimi's a giga chat that can drive a motorcycle. And the girl he was about to lay some pipe with got, vivisected.
Yeah, I just never understood that. I was like, okay, listen, I get it. You're coming back because I always thought if a bunch of white people killed me the horrific way that he got killed, a horrific way. Yeah, I think I would just be killing random white people. I mean, I think that would be my.
Yeah, I mean that honestly could have been for them. I think that could have been the first horror, or it could be, I don't know, maybe first popular horror movie that had a lot of social commentary. Because what Candyman was he a slave or was he?
He was a free slave.
He was a free slave. Yeah. So, because I didn't see the other ones, I totally forgot it was like 2 or 3 other ones before they did the reimagining. I'm assuming that was. Yeah, man. I don't know why he killed. I just think he just fucked people up. I mean, but like I said, it was based in Cabrini. He was in that Cabrini Green area. I mean, and see what happened with that. But yeah, I mean, I felt like the people who got destroyed the most was like the white folks when he sliced that dude up from
yes,
waist up like that. That was brutal. Who made that movie? Who wrote that movie?
Clive Barker.
It was based on the short story by Clive Barker, but it's directed by Bernard Rose.
Who?
Bernard Rose.
That's a white dude, right?
Yeah, he's from England.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, there you go. I mean, the Black dude from Get Out is British too, so there you
go. Yeah, because I'm saying that as a kid watching Candyman, the scene that scared the shit out of me was when he cut the little black boy's dick off in the bathroom. Like, I'm like, shit, like, oh.
Damn, I don't remember that. I remember him slicing the other dude up when he was in the freaking chair or whatever.
You don't see it, but they talk about it.
Yeah, they talk about it.
No, so that's the idea that as a no, that freaks me out.
Yeah. All right. So listen, we're about to add in another guest, and then we're going to be talking about our main topic tonight. All right. So let me pop this on. All right. So I have with us director Christopher Outridge. He has a new movie. He has several movies out right now. Slumber Party, Meat, and of course Teddy Cuddles. Christopher, welcome to the horror realm.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the horror realm. I am back.
Welcome back.
What's up, man?
Hey guys, Peter and Chris. How are you guys? Hey, Chris, double Chris.
Yeah. My real name is Christopher, but it's too tiring to say all of that. So
well, usually people only call me Christopher when I'm in trouble.
exactly. See? Hey, that's a black thing.
Christopher.
That's a black thing. It's either they call you by your full name or it's Crisco oil on the stove.
Yeah. But I just love my full name, so.
Well, you got two names, man.
Eric. Christopher Eric. I love my initials. I'm obsessed with them. So.
CEO. There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't even try to rhyme that. See, we can naturally rap.
It comes out.
We got the black disease. There you go with the roller coaster.
All good. Totally good.
All right.
So for the big question for the night is, so back in the day, like, listen, there was horror movies that had amazing story, and they also have great kills and gore. But it seems like recently filmmakers are you're either getting the great kills and gore, or you're getting the great story. Is it possible in the year 2024 to make a horror movie that has both? Peter, I'm gonna start off with you.
I'm gonna say potentially yes, because like directors like George A. Romero, David Cronenberg, and John Carpenter, and so on and so forth, married gore with like great stories. So hopefully one can look to the past and hopefully understand that you can have like great writing with grand granular imagery. But I guess you make the good point that you either get one or the other these days. When you first interviewed me, I told you that the movie Talk to Me was the exception, but like for the most part, you either get one or the other.
Now, Peter, why do you think that is?
Why is it? I guess because a lot of people choose to vibe instead of tell an engaging, thoughtful, deep story. Or people like get lost. I'm guilty of this. Get lost in like the special effects, or they just like make a purposely thin plot and just an excuse to see how like gross they are. Like some movies are like that, where like they just like, I like really gory movies, but then there's a certain point where I find a movie too mean or too gross, and you just feel like they're just seeing how nasty they can be. And it's like having that kid at the back of their class shout obscene jokes to sound funny, but it's more annoying than anything else.
Christopher Outridge, I'm gonna ask you the same question.
Well, I've got I guess there's two sides to this. One, just basically in general, I don't believe that an excessive or even any amount of gore should dictate the quality of a story. You know, you could tell an amazing story without there being a lot of gore, and you should be able to tell a great story without there being a lot of gore. You know, your story should be dictated by the characters that you write, which then is your writing ability, and your writing ability, and the conflict and the purpose of your story. It should not rely solely, or even like 50%. Your story should not rely on gore. So therefore, you should be able to tell a great story without an excessive or even massive use of gore. So that's one. Two, the usage of gore in a film, and I love gore. I'm a horror filmmaker. I love gore, everything like that. But to me, it's like an add-on. The gore that you use inside the film should be able to not enhance your story, but join the story. As in, like, if you have over-the-top gore, fine. But if it's useless to anything that's going on, then why? You know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be pointless. You shouldn't just have gore for gore's sake. Some people can do it. Some people can do gore for gore's sake. Like Terrifier. I think Terrifier is a great example. And another thing, a good story doesn't necessarily mean Gone with the Wind, Oscar-worthy story.
Exactly.
Like Terrifier tells an amazing story, tells a really good story, and also uses tremendous amounts of gore. So that's it in a nutshell.
But what's the story with Terrifier? Because I don't think Terrifier has a story.
Well, Terrifier does have a story in the sense that it's the story about this maniacal clown that is going around murdering people. It's a very simple story. Again, you don't have to tell Gone with the Wind style storytelling, but there is conflict. There is conflict. There is a protagonist that is being pursued, and you're invested in that very simple story of, and then there's also the fact of Art the Clown is an amazing character.
Oh, he's a great villain.
He's an engaging character. He's interesting to look at. You kind of want to know, why does he do this? Or at least I did when I saw it. I'm wondering, why does he do this? What is Art the Clown? I think it wasn't until the second one where you find out that there's some like supernatural aspects to him. But the first one, you think that this is just a guy walking around in a clown costume. And to me, that's storytelling. You're not necessarily in the first movie. You're not telling anybody the who. You're not telling anybody the why he's doing it. You're not telling anybody. You're just telling people this is a clown who goes around killing people. But that's why you want to watch the second one, because you're engaged. Because this character is an interesting character to watch, and you kind of want to know more and follow Art the Clown through. And then in the second one, and forgive me, I'm blanking on the name of the lead female character, but the actress Lauren, I know the actress's name, Lauren. Mm-hmm. She's an amazing character. She's a really good character. Mm-hmm. When you watch the movie, you're invested in wanting her to survive Art. You're invested in the Art versus Lauren conflict. So that is storytelling right there to me. That's storytelling. There's all this over-the-top gore that's surrounding it, sure. But there's storytelling there that and now allows you to go on and meet and want to know what the third one is about.
Okay.
So I have tons of more to say on that, but I could spend the whole hour over here. But, yeah.
I don't want to bash. I don't want to bash Terrifier anymore on my show. So I enjoyed part two. I agree with you. Part two. Part two had a story, story to it, where you have a main characters you're invested in against this villain, and you hope for the survival. Part one, there was no story, there was no character. I don't know. It was clowns running around killing people.
Part one was that was the story.
Yeah.
Part one was the super simple story of Art the Clown goes around killing people. But what makes it a good story, at least again, in my point of view, is that Art the Clown is such an interesting and engaging character that you're invested in what he's doing, and that's why you want to see part 2.
Hey, Christopher, if I could just interject real quick.
Yeah.
I have some things to say about my thing with the Terrifier movies is I'm not crazy about the Terrifier movies, but I like the fact that they're a success because that's someone from like the independent movie that's like moving up in the world, so I'm happy to see that. But I agree with Travis, like I just found like the first Terrifier movie was just like I just found it to be like mean for the sake of being mean. And when I look at Art the Clown, he reminds me of this homeless guy in Sacramento who was always asking me to sniff glue with him. So when I see Art the Clown, I see that homeless man who kept asking me to please sniff glue with him. So
You must really not like that guy.
If Art the Clown came out of the movie and came to slice me up, I would probably run, but I could never take that guy seriously.
You must really not like the blue guy.
I would say none of the Terrifier movies have stories or characters. It's like Terrifier 2 has an attempt at story and characters, but this like no one feels real in that movie. Like that kid is I would give me an eye on that kid with the glasses.
Well, there's some. Well, I mean, there's sometimes. Again, I'm not saying the Terrifier is like Jaws quality because it's not. You know, but there's also a sense of sometimes you kind of have to take a movie for what it is and what it's going for. For example, and this is an example that I kind of use to explain this. We all know Sharknado.
Mm-hmm.
All those Sharknado movies from Sci-Fi. Okay,
each one.
Each one, like they're ridiculous. The concept is ridiculous. You know, the graphics are ridiculous. Some of the acting is ridiculous. They're ridiculous movies. They're absolutely ridiculous, senseless movies. But anybody who's going to go into a Sharknado movie expecting Jaws is missing the point. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to... Sharknado has its charm because it knows what it is, and it doesn't try to be Jaws. So that's why people can enjoy Sharknado. That's why they made 1 million of them, and it's one of sci-fi's most interesting things. But anybody who's bashing Sharknado like it's should have been some Oscar-worthy production is just stupid, and for lack of a better term, doesn't have anything better to do than to bash something that really should not even be looked at on that level. Now, when you think about it in terms of Terrifier, they're not, and I will say that Art the Clown is an engaging character. He's very engaging. That doesn't mean everybody else around him is. You know, there are some characters that you really don't like. I don't remember anybody in the first movie, anybody's names rather, in the first movie other than Art the Clown. And you know what? I would dare to say that that's not the point. You're not supposed to really remember those people. It's Art the Clown that you're supposed to be caring about. It's Art the Clown that you're invested in. It's and he is engaging. He is someone that I personally, again, I can speak for myself, want to see move forward. In the second one, I feel like in the second one, they push Lauren. They push Art. The other characters are kind of just, and then there's a little boy. But everyone else is kind of just there for the benefit of uplifting the other two. You know, so you have to kind of take movies like Terrifier, like Sharknado, and kind of look at it for what it is and what they are going for. And that's where you can find the gem, the real gem in storytelling.
I see what you're saying that's like my view with like Italian horror is like, yeah, appreciate it for, or like my view on a lot of cinema, which is like there's this one guy who I find to be a pretty strict critic, but I once commented on his channel saying like, man, do you even like movies? All I see you doing is being critical. You don't surrender to it, and you don't give in to the experience. So I kind of see where you're coming from. And your attitude on the Terrifier movies reminds me of my attitude when it comes to Italian horror. And it was interesting that a lot of the things that I criticized Damien Leone's work is a lot of the things I praise in Lucio Fulci's work, which is like thin plot and characters, but a massive emphasis on gore.
And Chris?
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes down to like, can gore and good story collide? I mean, absolutely. It's plenty, like Peter, you brought it up. The Fly is a phenomenal movie, smart as hell and gory as fuck, and it's still one of the greatest type movies ever. The Thing is phenomenal, smart as hell, gory as fuck. They put that movie out today. It's still one of the greatest or the greatest horror, like body horror, practical effects movie in the history of horror, in my opinion. Now let's go back to Terrifier. One thing about Damien Leone is Damien Leone. I mean, the dude's a phenomenal special effects artist.
Without
If
question.
y'all seen his first movie, All Hell, All Hallows Evil, whatever it was called.
And he's not doing the special effects in Terrifier 3.
And 3?
Yeah, he's not doing it in 3.
Oh no, you know why? Because he got money now.
Right.
He did a $250,000 crowd fund for Terrifier 2, hired 4 of the guys. They wanted more money, and they said, no, we want more money. And he said, well, fuck it. Me and my producer gonna make the shit. Because his producer gave him the 30 grand to make Terrifier, and he made Terrifier. Now, when we talk about, if we're talking about story and gore and stuff like that, I love the Terrifier movies. And yes, Art the Clown he's the Jason and Freddy and Michael Myers. He's like Damien, he made his franchise. Like, he don't need any named actors to be in that movie. It's about that damn clown. Right. Now, when I talk about story, I agree. Terrifier, he showed up, saw fucking people up. I personally think it was Damien's demo reel to say, look what I can do. Check out this chick. This is about to slice her head. Because when I saw the slice of the chick, hanging upside down, I was like, whoa, yeah, bravo, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And I seen Terrifier 2, and I seen his y'all talking about Going with the Wind. I felt like I was watching Going with the Wind because the movie was too goddamn long. But like 2.5 hours. Come on, Damien. Like, the new one's 2 hours. I'm like, so my whole thing with that is like, he was trying to tell more of a story in the second. And then, I mean, that was his thing. So he was trying to create an origin. And I think if we're talking about that movie, I think it's good to keep a mystery of Art the Clown. I don't really care about knowing his backstory or where he came from. I like that he just appeared and he's this entity. But that's that kind of movie. Now, let me go back to what people call elevated horror. I look at a movie called Hereditary. Fucking phenomenal movie, in my opinion. Great acting, great story. Boom, last 20 minutes. Whoa, chopped off old white people butt naked. Shit fucked up. That shit is gory as hell. That's a great movie with a lot of good gore. Let's talk about a movie from the foreign lands. A French movie, Martyrs. A fucking best movie.
Oh my god.
Dirty as hell. Great, beautiful movie, but one of the most gory. I didn't think I was gonna watch it again, but I did. But I took a lot of that movie and the movie Inside. It's 2 French horror because I'm into French horror for some reason. I guess I like to read, but like French horror, like Inside and Martyrs. Those movies are phenomenal movies, and those are the most glorious movies that I ever seen. And I actually am inspired to the movie I'm working on now, Vic Effects, based on those movies. So those are 2 movies I look at that's disgustingly gory, but there's good acting and a story to it, where all of that pushes it all in play. But the gore. But here's the thing: let's talk about necessary, like Peter. Let's talk about necessary gore. Because I'm on the same page as you, Peter. I haven't seen Human Centipede yet. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
And I get it. And you know what? I did see Serbian film. I would never see it again, not because I'm like, oh my God, I was disturbed. I'm just like, okay, I saw this fucked up. This is, I don't need to see this shit again. I like horror movies, but all right, I'll take it for what that is and move on. I don't need to see that shit. If you guys ever seen Serbia film, that whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, and Peter, guess what? Don't see it because you won't. You like fuck this shit.
Yeah,
like I like horrors, but that's a line I do draw. But when I look at movies with a good story and good acting and gory as fuck, Inside was necessary, and how that movie was made. Martyrs was necessary based on how they set everything up with that movie. And so those are perfect examples. And Hereditary is another movie that I really enjoyed that kicked you in the face at the last 20 minutes with the gore and the things that happened with that movie, and it had a really good story. So those are when you talk about gore and good story.
Talking about,
you probably count them on one hand, but or two hands.
Talking about, I'm sorry. Talking about Human Centipede. I actually have never seen Serbia film. I've never seen it. I kind of want to see it, but I've never seen it.
It's kind of nice track.
I have seen all 3 Human Centipedes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've also seen, because when it comes to Human Centipede 2, and I'll start from 1 in a minute, but when it comes to Human Centipede 2, I don't know how many people saw the director's cut versus the DVD released cut. Because now, first off, when I first saw Human Centipede 2, I saw a midnight showing in a Brooklyn theater. I think it was Nighthawk. I saw a literally midnight showing on Halloween of Human Centipede 2. I didn't even know that was the completely uncensored director's cut. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then when I bought the Blu-ray, and yes, I bought the Blu-ray. I own them all. I'm gonna get rid of 3. I think I did sell 3 because I don't like it. But when I bought the second one, I watched it, and there are 2 scenes in the DVD release that were not in the movie that I watched in theaters. And I was like, wait a second. Why am I like? I honestly thought that my DVD skipped because I specifically remember these scenes because they were. Now I will say, if you want me to spoil it for you, I don't know if anybody wants to spoil it.
I mean, spoil it like fucking.
Yeah, I'm not watching it.
First off, Human Centipede 2, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's about a guy. It's basically Human Centipede 2 goes under the premise that the first movie was a movie. And this guy watched the movie and now wanted to make his own Human Centipede in real life with 12 people. Right? That's the second one. Now, that is a really good concept. Now, what they did in the second one is that one of those people, and again, like, I hope you're not going to get in trouble for this, Travis, because this goes, I would say this is something that goes very far. In the second one of those 12 people is a pregnant woman. So he takes a pregnant woman and he tries to take this woman and attach it to his 12-person centipede. Now, the pregnant woman escapes. In the DVD version, the pregnant woman just escapes. And you don't see the rest. But what I saw in theaters was that when the pregnant woman goes to escape, she gets inside of a car, she gives birth. and the fetus comes down, and please, disclaimer, 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 disclaimer. The fetus drops down. She slams on the brakes and slams the brakes right down on top of the fetus and drives off. That's one of the scenes that was cut from the DVD release. Now, when I saw that scene in theaters, I was like, whoa! They did this in a movie! Like, wow! You crushed a newborn baby with a gas pedal in a movie! Holy crap! And when I saw that when I didn't see that in the DVD release, I was like, huh? Wait, what? This? And then I was like, wow, I wonder if they cut this on purpose. Now, the other scene that was cut, the other scene that was cut from the DVD release was after he finishes his centipede. There's a female at the end. Now, this guy is like one of those really weird people. And what he does is, again, disclaimer, 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 disclaimer. What he does is he takes barbed wire and wraps it around his penis, and he has sex with the human centipede. And you see it. Like, you see him holding and doing his thing. Now, again, I saw that in theaters, and I was like, whoa, they did this in a movie. Like, those two scenes are clearly like the standout, most goriest things, most disturbing things I saw in this movie. And I'm like, yo! But then I'm watching the DVD and I'm like, wait a second. Like, why is this not here? Why is this, like, this is edited out. Now, why do I bring this up? Those two scenes are scenes that are like, whoa. Like, you almost find yourself going, why? Those two scenes really didn't have to happen in the movie. They don't push the story any further. That all they do is push the story to a point where it's like, wow, you really wanted to shock people. Like you really wanted to go there, didn't you? Like, this doesn't serve the narrative. This doesn't serve the story whatsoever. You know, and again, they cut it out in the DVD release, and the story moves just fine. But there's also a part of me, and maybe this is because I just have this incredibly overactive imagination, and that appreciates the value of a film like Human Centipede. Because again, it's not like you can do this in Hereditary. It's not like you can do this in Freddy Krueger. It's not like you can do this in even Terrifier. But I imagine Terrifier grabbing Laura and wrapping barbed wire around his penis and going, yeah.
Well, we'll see in 3.
Yeah.
It's been long.
Do that in 3. Yeah. So it's like, but you can, there's a part of me and that is like, because when I saw it in theaters, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they were brave enough to go there. You didn't have to. It doesn't serve the story at all, you know. But you were brave enough to go there, and clearly somebody, whomever it was, who made the decision to not put that in the DVD release, you know, they kind of, I guess somebody kind of stopped them and said, you know, this is too much. You know, so there is times when that's the best example I can come up with, where, you know, these over-the-top gory scenes are just not needed and don't serve the story at all. Kudos for going there. Awesome. You know, I would have never done anything like that in any of my films, especially crushing a fetus with a brake pedal, with a gas pedal. I would have never done anything like that. But I guess in the realm of Human Centipede, where you can kind of push those boundaries, you can go for it with limitations, if that makes any sense. Now, the other two, I think the first one is I think the first one is a very well done film for what it is. You know, I love the actor who played the Doctor. You know, he was a very compelling character. His reasoning behind it seemed very logical. The reasoning behind what he was doing just seemed to make sense. And maybe I'm just into some of the really disturbing stuff, but it just seemed to make sense why he was doing it. And he seemed like he's a perfectly logical, sane, scientific person. You know, he's not like this. If Art the Clown was doing this, it would be laughable. But the Doctor doing it made sense. And the fact that the girl in the middle was the only survivor at the end, and the way the movie ended, it was sad, because you have this woman who's been through so much, and she's now stuck in the middle of these two corpses. Like how does she? And again, that's part of good storytelling too, because it's like, how does this woman get out of this situation? She's stuck in the middle of nowhere. Like, imagine if this was a totally different movie where she's out in some desert with her only two people in the world. They're with her. They're both dead, and now she's stuck alone, hungry, with not a person or soul around for miles. You still, no matter what the situation, you still get that sense of, wow, you know, what is she going to do? You still get that sadness, which is satisfying when it comes to a story. The third one is garbage. The third one is poorly acted. The third one, for those of you who don't know, they basically, again, they're going on the premise that the first one is an actual film, and this prison decides to really punish their inmates by taking their like death row inmates and sticking them into a human centipede, and as punishment. Like, this is punishment because of all the murders that you did or whatever horrible thing that you did. So you have this human centipede that's 100 feet long inside of it's like a human millipede, for example. But it was so poorly acted and poorly written that it was just all around. I don't even know why I sat through the whole thing, because it was just bad. You know? So I would say that when it comes to Human Centipede as a whole, there's a massive degradation in both the quality of storytelling and even the quality of gore. You know,
yeah, man, you got me wanting to see it now. You just made it all. I'm watching it. You just broke it down. I'm like, shit, she's going on
that Netflix.
I'm like, damn, dude. Okay.
Going on Tubi. I'm going on Tubi right after this.
I'm gonna watch it, and if you wrong, I'm like, what the hell are you watching, man?
I don't think I've ever defended Human Centipede before.
That's the first time I've heard anybody say, "Yo, man, Human Centipede is deep like a motherfucker." That shit he did, there's a reason for that. I was not thinking that. I was just thinking he was fucked up dude, and he like people was kissing each other's ass, and he literally did it. So, I got my heart, bro.
I've been watching horror movies since I was a kid. I've seen you. If anybody wants to see a horror movie that actually disturbed me, because again, like horror movies, it takes a lot for a horror film to disturb me. And I mentioned this on Travis's show before. If you want to see a horror movie that is disturbing, there's a movie called Jack Ketchum, The Girl Next Door. Not to be confused with the Alicia Cuthbert comedy movie, The Girl Next Door.
Oh shit!
It's not to be confused with that.
No, is this based on a true
I
story?
saw that one.
Yes, it's based on.
Yeah, I just saw that one a month ago. Yeah, bro.
Okay, so that movie is a very disturbing horror film, and anyone that I have ever introduced this movie to hasn't even been able to sit through the first 35 minutes. Like they get 35 minutes in after that first thing that happens, and they can't take it anymore, and they just stop. And the thing is, when it comes to that film, it is very well written. It's a drama horror. There is very little gore in it. You see very little of what actually goes on. Because of the subject matter, you see very little of what actually goes on.
I mean, things based in reality is gonna always be a little bit more, it'll probably grip you a little bit more. Like when you watch Terrifier, it is over the top gore. You watch a movie about a woman being tortured, that shit happened.
Right.
Like we having conversation and unfortunately something bad is happening in our world.
I actually didn't know it was based on.
Yeah, it's based on a true story. Yeah.
But after I watched it, I didn't know until after I watched it.
But that premise, but whether it's based on a true story or not, that premise that's some real shit.
Yeah, it's a very disturbing premise, and nothing even happens. When you watch this movie, it doesn't even feel like a horror film until you get 35 minutes in.
Yeah.
See what happens at first, and then everybody I've recommended this film to shut it off after that because they couldn't take it anymore. Yeah. And that's not even the worst of it. The scene that the end of it is so much worse. Like I would say that the end of it is worse than anything that happened in Terrifier. And you're seeing all the gore in Terrifier. The end of that movie is so much worse, disturbing wise, than Terrifier, that it's like I found myself going, oh my God, like I can't believe this is happening to this person. Yeah. And it's something that literally I've never seen any film go there and do what this film did. So, and that's an example of a movie that's an example of a horror movie that can it disturbed me. And Terrifier doesn't disturb me. This movie disturbed me. That's an example of a movie that can disturb you, that can horrify you, and has minimal, almost next to nothing when it comes to gore.
But yeah, like you said, it was a well acted, it was a story and
right.
No, and actually the woman who was anchoring everything, she played in 16 Candles. I'm gonna look at 16 Candles a totally different way. Yeah, you look at the act. She was in 16 Candles. I was like, oh, wait a minute, 16 Candles.
Whoa, hold on a second.
Molly Ringwald's sister, who was all drugged out when she was getting married.
That could not have been.
I know
her.
all of y'all seen 16 Candles, so we all John Hughes fans, I'm assuming.
I know
So the woman in the girl next door, she was the mother. She was in the 16 Candles.
Again, investigate that.
Yeah, but that movie fucked me up a little bit too. There's another movie that I don't know if it's like it's a movie called Irreversible. If we talking about fucked up scenes in movies, Irreversible. It's a French movie. It's from
Gaspar Noé.
Yeah. Fuck that movie. That was I don't want to see a one take rape scene for 9 minutes.
Oh wow.
That's what that is. And after that, I was like, all right.
Has anybody seen The Bunny Game?
No. The Bunny Game?
The Bunny Game. Has anybody? Okay, so
is that black and white movie?
Yeah.
It's the one where that chick gets kidnapped and then she's gotta like blow a dude, and she like did it for real, whatever.
Right.
No, that's Brown Bunny. That's Brown Bunny.
No, but also in the Bunny. No. That's another movie.
Brown Bunny.
Yeah, there's a movie called The Bunny Game, and this was my So there's this whole horror genre that years ago I was introduced to, called, like, I think that I might be getting the term wrong, but it's called exploitation horror. And it's essentially like, imagine shooting a horror movie where everything inside of it is actually happening to the actress. Like this, for example, the Bunny Game. This woman gets kidnapped and she's just tortured. Like it's literal senseless torture throughout this entire movie. And the thing about it is that it's actually happening. Like, this girl is actually having this in real life being done to her willingly. You know, so imagine going to hiring an actress and saying, like, hey, I'm shooting a movie. I'm going to cast you as a woman who's going to get kidnapped, dragged through the desert, thrown into the back seat of this big truck, tied up with rope, and you're going to be dragged by your hair, knocked down, beat up, and all of that's going to happen to you. Like, in real life. Like, this actor will literally grab you by your neck, throw you to the ground, all this other stuff. And first off, it shocked me that this is even a thing. And when I saw the Bunny Game, I was like, I mean, all I could think of, it's totally in black and white. I've seen this a long time ago. I have it on DVD. There's not, if I remember correctly, there's not a lot of blood and gore. But the fact of the matter that somebody actually willingly allowed this to happen to them, I found it to just be, for lack of a better term, in poor taste and stupid. And that whole, I don't know if it's still around today. I've seen this movie like maybe 10 years ago. But I think that I don't know if anybody else has heard of this genre of horror movie called exploitation horror. But there's this whole following of these exploitation movies, or at least it was back then, where people actually did this to people and released it willingly, and willing actors actually had all this happen to them, and they released this as films. And when we're talking about telling a good story with gore, you know, these films, you know, I'm sitting here defending Art the Clown, saying, you know, that's a story where it's just about a clown murdering people, and that's okay. But these exploitation films that are about people torturing others for the sense of just torturing them, that's not okay. Because then it's downright stupid and in poor taste, because these exploitation films are actual real things that are being done to real people. So there's a contrast and a limit to, and you know, call me insensitive, but one would look at the Bunny Game and be like, oh, I feel so bad for that woman. But because I knew that it was an exploitation film and she was a willing participant in everything that happened to her, I was sitting there like, what the hell's wrong with you? You know, like I can't invest myself in this story because I'm too busy thinking about how stupid it is for you to actually willingly have this done to yourself in the first place. Jeez. You know, so it's like, so there's definitely a line that, like, that these exploitation horror films, those aren't movies. Those aren't stories to be told. Art the Clown is an Oscar-worthy cinema compared to this, in my opinion. These exploitation horror films are just, it's torture porn.
Yeah.
It's torture porn for people who like to sit in for disclaimer. It's torture porn for people who like to sit down in front of their computers and jerk off to people getting hurt. which in my opinion, that's not a story. That's not a quality film at all. It shouldn't even be considered a film. So,
okay, so
sorry, sir.
I'm actually disturbed now.
You invited me on for a reason, Travis.
I'm so fucking disturbed now.
As long as black people didn't make those movies, because that's
I don't remember.
Let's get back to the subject, because I need to take a fucking cold shower after this.
I know this is disturbing shit.
I don't remember if the director was black or not. To be totally honest.
Man, I'm like, those movies.
Oh my
those
goodness,
movies. Those just people shooting. That's some porno shit.
It's like snuff shit. Yeah.
All that.
Oh, snuff films. That's what they called it.
Yeah, snuff. Yeah.
Films,
film. That's it. That's what they call it. So
here's the crazy thing, man. I'm gonna put this out there. When I first started my show, I was taking interviews with anybody. I was begging people to come on my show. Now people are asking me to come on my show. But like I would have snuff film people offer to come on my show, and they would send me their shit, and I would be like, "Yeah, I can't do this." I was like, "I can't promote this on my fucking channel. I can't." Like. And I saw some twisted, weird fucking shit.
Yeah.
So it's definitely out there. And guess what? A lot of people, especially in those horror groups or indie horror groups, are into that shit.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I didn't know it was still around personally.
People like those movies ain't gonna never go away. We got movies in this world, and people still.
Why is that still around? Why?
I mean. We got a lot of people in this world, and people like fucked up shit. Like there's, we have this thing called the internet that we're on, and there's a lot of things on the internet, and there's a lot of things that people aren't into. Like, here's my thing, man. Like horror is fun. Like it's this other guy. He's like a critic, and he reviews movies and talk about movies. Ghost Pirate. That's his YouTube channel, and his saying is, just remember, guys, horror is fun. Like he's like, it's fun. Art the Clown slicing people up and doing all this. And Peter, I know you said that shit's fucked up. That shit, I watched Terrifier 2, and he was in that bed fucking up, and then he like, okay, and he came back with the bleach. I'm like, really, bro?
It went on too long. And
I'm like, really, man? Can you like stop? And I'm laughing as I'm saying this. I'm like, can you stop? Like, okay, we're done. That's bullshit. That's a supernatural count doing all that stuff. That's fun. That's what horror movies is. Like let's go back and watch. I mean, talk about Tubi. Go back and watch black and white movies from the fucking 30s and 40s, man. Within that time, there was some dark stuff within that from that time. Like horrors didn't just start doing what they're doing. I mean, horror it's in your TV. It's part of this dark world. Some of the nicest people that I've met are into horror movies. They're not dark and disturbing and weird and fucked up and things that happen. It like you get these fucking, when people, I'm on the A24 group, and you hear these pretentious long cigarette wool long cigarette wool freaking sweater wearing motherfuckers talking about their dramas and this and that. They get crazy. It's like, dude, relax. It's just a movie. Like, why we losing our minds over this shit? Like, people in horror, you go to these conventions, Trav, you've been going to these conventions. They're so passionate about this stuff. Like, yeah, we don't want to be like, watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
The thought of it is gruesome. It's not a gruesome movie. Y'all really watch, like, wait a minute, ain't really no blood. And I think their budget was tight as hell, so you couldn't do it. But two, that movie and the crazy thing about the movie, it just felt so real and so authentic. And then they had this whole thing, this is a true story, blah blah blah. And those Freddy is hilarious. He cracks you up. He fucking you up, and he's telling jokes. All right, bitch. You want to be a star? And then he put a fucking star in her fucking head or some shit. So it's like, that's funny. That's fun. That shit, that ain't movies. That just garbage. That's just stuff. Like our minds ain't gonna be, wrapped into like everything that's supposed to be horror. That ain't horror. That's bullshit. I watch those kind of movies and slashers and stuff like that because it's fun. It's fun to watch those kind of movies. It's our form of entertainment. Doesn't mean we're crazy and we don't we're the deplorables or whatever. But that shit, no, and man, ain't cool. Good on you that you found some sense of, understanding and deepness in watching Human Centipede.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
What's going on over there?
But I interviewed someone who I mean, they say during the interview that they acted in snuff films, and they have PTSD from it today because they were on a set and the people went too far. It went too far and it sent them to the hospital. And I was like, well, who's into this? And they would say it's mostly men. Mostly men are into this, who are buying these things. And I'm like, who the fuck is like? It just blows my mind to see who the hell's in real life is into someone watching someone. I mean, seriously get hurt.
There are sick people out there. I mean,
yeah.
I love horror films, but I've never had anybody in my basement and tortured. Like I
sure, Christopher. Sure. No,
yeah, you know what they saying. You know what they say in the hood. You can't be a rat. You can't be telling on people. But fuck that bullshit. If you got motherfuckers saying, "Yo, check out my movie, man," beating up people, I'm like, "Yo, check out your phone. Your phone, the fucking calling the cops. Your ass about to go to jail. Like, what the hell is this shit? I'm not like I'm narking like a motherfucker. Like this ain't cool."
But
it was consensual. I'm like, well, something ain't right. I ain't, I'm reading your ass out. Fuck that.
What I would want to ask that man who went to the hospital, who did snuff films, I would want to ask him, was it worth it? Like what were you thinking at the time when you agreed to it? Like what was your reason for agreeing to it? And now, was it worth it?
I'll send you the interview. I'll send you the interview if you're interested in watching it. Yes.
I'm really curious. Like what?
Yeah.
What
was he the person making them or was he in them?
No,
he was in them. He was in them.
Oh, he was just an actor that was. I mean, the fuck is actor? He was just in the movie.
Well, he or she was. He or she was an actor. Was the one who's getting beat up and fucking cut up and shit like that. Yes.
Oh.
I would definitely want to ask that. I would definitely want to know why did you do this, and two, was it worth it? Like now that you're looking back and you have PTSD and you were in the hospital and you almost died, it's like seriously, like was this? Would you look back on that and tell your however old you are, like shake them and be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Yeah. What do you tell the hospital? Like, what do you say to the people in the hospital? Like, oh, XYZ did this to me. I'm half dead, but it was consensual.
But what do you do as a wife or a girlfriend if you walk in and you see your man jerking off or some shit like that? What do you do then? Like, I mean, that's grounds for divorce, breakup. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm like, what do you do then?
Like, no, that's something that kind of makes you want to look at the person in a totally different way and be like,
yeah.
Well, no pun intended, but this is a dark question. It was my black joke anyway. So, but what's the diff? Man, dude, this shit getting okay. Anyway, all right. So so you have certain things that's SM, and then you have stuff like that. Would you put both of those together? Where you got someone wearing leather and they're like, all right, you hit them with a.
No, so, jeez, I don't want to tell myself. Listen, but no, the SM stuff and the bondage is more of a.
You already told her yourself, Travis. Shit, man, you gotta edit this out, bro. You better get on.
All right, so
Premiere
listen.
and edit this.
All right. So the SM, I don't practice in it, but listen, I've been in sex clubs. But the SM is more like bondage and pleasure. I don't get it either because I usually go to them and like there were women who like getting tasered in the coochie and stuff, and I'm like, what kind of fucking pleasure is that? But so I don't understand that because it's knife play and fire play and stuff like that. I don't get that. But that is more of a sexual thing compared to that shit is just all about watching someone get fucked up. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. Like, I mean, personally, I'm not into bondage. I've never done it. I wouldn't do it. I don't think pain is pleasure. Respect to those who do. It's not my world. But I get what you're saying. Like there's a difference between that and what a snuff film is, and actually like enjoying watching something like that. You know, I think it takes for lack of a better term, a special kind of person to sit there and watch a snuff film and be like, like I wouldn't question the movie. I would then go to the person and be like, who hurt you? Like what happened to you that made you this kind of person? Oh, did he? Oh, I think he
said, I'm out.
It got too much for him.
He said, y'all too much shit going on.
It got too much for him. We got too dark.
The definition of snuff film changed on me because my definition of a snuff film is a movie of someone actually getting killed, not just hurt, like killed.
On film.
Okay, so YouTube me out because I was talking crazy. No, I'm joking. But storm here, so like everything.
YouTube's trying to censor the subject matter. They're like, no, guys, you weren't supposed to go this dark.
No.
We're
not talking about
Here's
Tyler Perry got a new movie out.
He finds.
And got another show on BET. So got like 20 of them now. All right. Let's get back to the black talk. My hands.
Listen, I'm absolutely disturbed at this point. I mean, I didn't know. Listen, we just got to some weird fucking shit.
Yeah.
But this was entertaining. Listen, I'm now, thanks to CEO, I'm gonna be watching Human Centipede. Cause that was one of those movies I was never interested in. I'm like a bunch of motherfuckers tied to the asses, so bad. It just never seemed like something I would watch.
I've got to say that, like, when I look at anything in life, I kind of look at it like everything is different, and I kind of look at things for what they are, and admittedly, like there's very very little horror films that actually disturb me. Very little. Maybe I'm desensitized. But there are very, very little horror films that actually disturb me. So I can go into a movie like Centipede, look past the very disturbing subject matter, and find it's a problem if I can't. You know what I mean? That's the problem. There's a problem if I can't find something about it that's okay.
Hey, baby in the back.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to be talking about whips. I don't
What's
want to be talking.
What's a centipede?
He's trying to get that away from him.
But okay, so I'm gonna censor it now because there's a kid. But one thing about me, so I'm not a filmmaker. I'm on the outside. I'm on the complete outside, right? I mean, if I see some messed up things in a movie, I need to care about the character's demise. Like, and that's the problem I would say with some horror movies. Yeah, you get gruesome kills and it's not, but it's not as rewarding if I don't care about the characters. If the characters are just undeveloped and they're just there, it's just like, okay, they just got killed. I need to feel something. I need to feel like, wow, that's messed up. I felt sorry for them, or wow, I'm glad they got it, I need to feel something. But when I watch a horror movie and there's kills and gore and I don't feel absolutely nothing, like, oh, that's cool practical effect. Like, that's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this the last time I was a guest on the show. Like, horror is simultaneously my favorite genre and my least favorite genre. You know what I mean? Because, and again, like you said, horror needs to be fun. You know, horror needs to be fun.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
horror needs to be fun, but a lot of horror films that come out these days, and going back to the topic, a lot of horror films these days are relying so much on the gore that they are completely neglecting any kind of story value, any kind of characterization. They're even neglecting common sense. You know, like there's a film that I watched where it's raining outside, and in scene 1, it's pouring, but scene 2, there's no rain. And then you go back to shot. Then you go back to shot 1, there's rain. In shot 3, there's rain. And in shot 2, there is no rain. And I'm sitting there like, were we asleep in the editing room? You know, and a lot of what's going on today in horror is that nobody is caring about telling a good story. Nobody is taking the time to have characters. Their characters are limited to stereotypes and women with breasts that they can take off their clothes and be like, hey, look at my horror movie. You get to see this girl naked and bloody. You know, and that's the problem. The problem is it's not the gore that's the problem. The problem is the filmmakers and the writers' conscious choice to not care about having a story with characters that you actually want to be invested in.
Now, are we looking at, you know, the aspect of, because there's different tiers when it comes to the horror community and the movies we're making. Obviously, I can just speak for myself. I'm in the low budget DIY micro budget type realm. Are we talking about that, or are we talking about movies in the forefront? You know,
in general.
the movie
well, so in the independent world, and I'm an independent filmmaker too.
Right.
I'm an independent filmmaker too.
And I'm gonna check your stuff out, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Check me out. Somepartythemovie.com, Teddy Cuddles, Meet. You can find me on Facebook.
Cool.
But when it comes to the independent level, and even like, you know, like the halfway point between blockbuster and low budget, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There is a serious lack of writing, characterization, and storytelling in general. It's like it's like a horror has been reduced to what can we do next to kill somebody, and let's make any kind of story that revolves around that, which is foolish. Now on the big studio level, the big studio's problem is that they can't seem to find a way to stop regurgitating the same ideas and characters over and over and over and over and over again. You know, I mean, I love Jason. I love Freddy. I love Michael Myers. I love Chucky. But come on. Why do we need to see there's a TV like why do we need to see Chucky? How many more stories can you possibly tell with Chucky? How many more stories can you possibly tell with Freddy? How many more stories can you possibly tell with Jason? The story is told. Let's get
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, and I'll say the same thing about my you know my love Saw. You know, I love Saw.
One of my all-time favorite horror movies.
Right. I love Saw.
Fucking phenomenal.
But we don't need 10 of them. Now, I haven't seen the latest one yet.
It's good.
But we don't need 10 of them. You know, what I would say to the independent horror filmmaker and those in between is like, challenge yourself and make a story. Make characters that we can be invested in, characters that I want to watch. You know, have a plot that relies on something more than just killing people. And maybe if you guys do that, maybe these big studios, and it's a big if, will take a look at some of these independent films and be like, wow, maybe I should invest in this. And when I go to the major studios, I would go to the major studios and tell them, stop regurgitating the same ideas and take a chance. You know, there's so many and I just started judging film festivals too. I just started judging them, and there are so many really good independent films out there. There's characters out there that could turn into franchise. To shamelessly plug myself, Teddy Cuddles. There's some shameless plug. There's
What about a killer bear?
Yes, it is about a killer teddy bear.
He'll have to kill you. He hugs you.
Shameless plug about myself. But there are characters and there are films and ideas out there that if you were to put a big budget behind them, you can make money off of this. Horror is a very interesting genre. Horror is not like drama. Horror is not like, horror is close. I guess in this respect, it's closer to sci-fi. It'll be a little closer to sci-fi. Sci-fi can kind of do this too. But horror is a genre where horror fans and horror enthusiasts, we will back you. You just have to give us a reason to back you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, how many times do we really need to see The Conjuring 5 times? Do we really need to see, and they're coming out with Megan 2, but 5 years from now, if there's going to be Megan 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's like, do we really need to see Annabelle over and over and over again? How much more can you possibly do with these characters before you finally say, we're bored, before you finally get it?
I mean, as we're talking, having this discussion, you're talking to filmmakers. So our mindset's going to feel that way of why you keep making this or keep making this. Because regular folk, they're going to keep coming back.
Well,
I stopped watching it. I stopped watching. You know what, Peter? You're creeping me out right now, man. You're like dark as hell. You're like Childish Gambino right now. You're like Donald Glover on the side, like. I was like, oh, dude, that's a poster, bro. I just made the next move. But anyway, so no, man, it's for us as filmmakers. We're sick of this. I mean, perfect is we just saw The Crow. No one saw The Crow. Mm-hmm. We kind of figured that shit was not gonna. We knew that was gonna.
I don't want to see The Crow.
It didn't come to my theater.
Huh?
It didn't come to my theater.
Because it's garbage. The movie was supposed to come out in June, and then then they said, "Oh, we're going to switch it to August." I'm like, there you go. That tells you what's going on. When we look at these things, so I look at myself as a filmmaker and also as a film watcher, and I watch it because we have 3 different tiers of Halloween. We have those Halloweens, John Carpenter's Little Halloween, his Halloweens, these other Halloweens, and then Rob Zombie's Halloweens, then that other dude Halloweens. I didn't see the last 2 Halloweens. Because I saw the first one he did, and everybody raved about it. And I'm like, this was cool. But I'm over it. If they find a way to do something but here's the thing, if they find a way to do something, reimagine Freddy and try to build something, or like A24 Neon grab the Freddy franchise and make it all artsy and weird because it's the supernatural dream-like shit, I might be curious about that as a film watcher. we got to keep in mind they're a business, and they're gonna regurgitate things that works. It's an IP that's gonna make sense to them to say, how do we make money? They're not saying how do we make things that's gonna be thought provoking and make you feel something. How do we make money in this fucking business that's oversaturated with so many movies right now? We can make movies as freely as we can, but there's so much of it. So we need to look at that. I don't know the world of Hollywood. My goal and what I'm trying to do isn't making Hollywood movies. I'm a DIY filmmaker, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I can look, and I always bring them up, and Travis brought them up. I look at this filmmaking group, the filmmaking family, the Addams family. They make their own movies, they produce their own stuff, they do their own thing, and I built a really good relationship with them the past 2 years. They're phenomenal. They're an anomaly because they're in their own stratosphere in what they're doing. They're popular. And Shudder gave them some money to work on their newest movie, Hellhole, that's out on Shudder, and they made this movie. I enjoyed the movie, but also it didn't have that extra Addams Family stuff to it because there was a little bit of bigger budget, and it wasn't as intimate because they didn't have their daughters and them making movies. They had 50 other people making their movies. I mean, they had 50 other people on that crew when they made that movie because Shudder gave them some money. So it's like, but they have that balance between, okay, cool, we did this. Now we're gonna jump back to these other things that we're doing. And it's like, man, we can say this and we can, Megan made millions of dollars. Of course they're gonna make another Megan. They're making money. They're making money. For us as folk, don't go see these movies. Maybe they'll stop, but maybe they won't. They keep making these damn Crow movies, and the first one worked. So why you keep 30 years later keep making the same thing? So I'm gonna go back to us as filmmakers and independent filmmakers. You know, I know what I like. I know what I want to try to achieve in the things that I'm doing. I'm not making, and I look at, and that's what I'm saying. I look at a lot of these films, and I look at a lot of these crowdfunds because I donate to a lot of crowdfunds as well. You know, I give whatever I can, but I look at, you know, the slasher babe and the camp killer, you know, those type of movies. So when we talk about different things with movies, those movies have a niche. Those movies I just watched Graveyard Shark. You know, that was
how was that, by the way? How about it? How was that, by the way?
Yeah, I saw. What you say?
I said, how was that, by the way?
It was funny. It was a horror comedy. It was cool and it was good for what it was and all those things. But I look at these campaigns and I look at these different people making these kind of movies. Everybody's still, even in that world where you raising $10,000-$20,000, they have their niche. There's this flow that they're going. Now the stuff that I like to do, I like psychological horror. My movie Vic Effects, and then, you know, plug whatever. My movie's about a Foley artist. What's a Foley artist? Someone who makes sound effects for horror movies. She's making sound effects for horror movies. I made a bunch of, for me to try to counter making this kind of movie that's trippy and weird, to saying, how can I do this to make it marketable? So I made a bunch of short films for her to do sound effects for, where it cuts in between her making sound effects and into the movie. I made a slasher. I made a folk horror. I made a post-apocalyptic horror type movie. I made these different movies that people like. I put blood and guts into these movies, but it made sense for what I was trying to do. So I was trying to balance out, what do people like in horror, and also how do I create the story and build this character about a person who made a Foley artist who makes sound effects for a horror movie. So I was trying to balance both sides. I don't think I'm smarter than the average bear, pun intended. Teddy, yeah. But yeah, see, plug, because I'm a supporter. I don't think community exists in this film world. I think they're us as filmmakers have to build our little communities, because you still see the pulling and grabbing and boom, boom, boom. It's still brutal in the local world, in the micro budget world, as well as it is in the Hollywood world. So going back to, you know, the subject at hand, you gotta, like, that's not gonna go away. We can talk about why you're making these movies, because they're trying to make money. How do we try to do what we need to do? Because I mean, I don't know what we're trying to do. If we're trying to make money, cool, but I'm not trying to buy houses and stuff with what I do. But I'm also trying to make a quality movie, but also put the business head on to say, how do I counter and make this work where people are paying attention to what I'm doing as well? Like, I like those kind of movies. I donate to OnlyFans with about cute, hot ass female vampires. That guy's phenomenal. I seen Murder
Paul
Signs.
Ragsdale.
I seen
Paul
Murder.
Ragsdale,
Yeah,
yeah.
I seen Murder Signs. Those movies are dope.
Mhm.
Chris Sherman ain't making those movies, but I'll throw you $30 on your crowdfund to do it. That shit's fun as hell. But that's a niche. So everybody got their niche. Blumhouse has their niche. A24 has their niche. Neon has their niche. IFC has their niche. And then you look at these different, and you look at the the iconic characters of Jason, Freddy, and all them things, and now Art the Clown, because he is iconic now. They have their niche, and that's how they, you still trying to make some money off of this, so they're gonna keep doing that shit. And
But the thing is, you have to, because the ones who are paying the movie tickets, the majority, they are the casual horror fans.
Yeah.
They're not the hardcore horror fans.
No.
The casual horror fans make up 70% of the horror community.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who are paying the money for the horror conventions. They're the ones who are going to the movies and paying money for the tickets. So Hollywood is going to listen to the casuals, which are that 70%. They don't listen to that 30%, which is the hardcore fans. So the hardcore fans are not loud enough.
Right.
The hardcore fans are quiet. We sit in our corner and we complain to ourselves. The casuals, they support what they're looking for by money. So, I watched Damien Leone, and I watched those Terrified guys before they even became big. And I tell the story a lot. I watched what they did, and I'm telling you, if you're any indie filmmaker, if you there's a saying called "burn the boats." That means you got to quit your fucking job and do what these motherfuckers did, because that's what they did. They literally were at every fucking horror convention for 3 or 4 years across the whole entire country. I go to a lot of horror conventions throughout the country, and I saw them. I was like, who the fuck is he terrified? Who's that creepy clown? This is before this even got big. I kept seeing them, and then finally it happened. I watched the fucking movie, and that worked. And they just kept doing that. They're still doing that, even though they're about to get a big budget Terrifier 3. They kept on going and going and going. And somebody and then the hardcore horror fans would just kept talking about Terrifier. And then the casuals started hearing about it. Terrifier. And now you got kids walking around with Terrifier t-shirts on. And it was because you have to get the attention of the casual horror fans. That's the key. The key to success is getting the attention from the casual. The hardcores are great, but the casuals is where the money comes from.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, the hardcores, they help you pay for your movie though, because they want that associate producer credit, and they want that IMDb. Mm-hmm. They like, hey, check this out! I'm on my, you could be in the movie. I mean, those guys keep the lights on.
Yep.
So
yes.
Yeah, man, it's a tricky ass business, and it's always been a tricky business. But I think the positive side to all of this is, man, horror ain't going nowhere. No. Horror ain't going nowhere. Yeah, and guess what?
It's here.
Everybody and their mama making a horror movie, and at the end of the
literally,
like my mom making one right now. She like. I'm gonna make these grades, and I'm gonna scare the fuck out of you, mother. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so but yeah, no, it's there. It's here to stay. And you gotta. It's easier said than done. But us as filmmakers, man, we gotta find a way to stand out and figure out, do they want this? Do they want this kind of movie? Do they want this kind of energy? I'll never stop making art. Like from what I do as a musician to what I do as a filmmaker, I'll never stop making art. I have a 9-to-5. I got kids. I'm married. I got this stuff. But the when I put my kids to bed at 8:00 and I'm putting 3 hours into whatever I need to do, that 3 hours I'm locked. I'm locked in. I'm doing my stuff. I shot my film 16 days in 9 months. And I know a lot of people say, man, that's a long time. You got to knock these movies out, man. It's competition. And I'm like, no, it ain't. I ain't in no competition with nobody. I'm in competition with I'm in competition with myself. I'm in competition. I'm trying to make myself better as a filmmaker. And, that's what you got. The time you have when you ain't being, a regular person, and you out there shooting a movie and you editing, you got to put that work in and hope for the best. But you got to build relationships too, man. This is what we do is a grassroots thing. We ain't going viral. We got to have conversations. We people like you, Travis, putting up doing these podcasts and having these roundtables. Hopefully we got people, they watching and they're just like, okay, yeah, man. I'm gonna fuck with you, Peter. I'm gonna fuck with you, Christopher. I can't, man, see that shit hurts my throat. Chris, CEO.
You say Chris. Okay, you say Chris.
Fuck with you, Peter. I'm gonna watch all movies, man. So
exactly, that's how we gotta do it.
Yeah.
No, I'm all about that, man. I'm like, somebody gave me $20 to donate to my movie. I'm like, there you go. You just $20. I can buy a pizza for the crew for the next thing.
Yeah.
Every bit counts, man. So I don't worry about Hollywood shit. That's what they doing. They want to spend $50,000 and make $50 million and make $5 million at the box office. That's on you. Give me $10,000 and make a movie. I'll fuck some shit up.
I prefer those movies every day. And Dan commented, once the Terrifier film family saw a plethora of Art the Clown cosplay at horror conventions and festivals, then they knew they made it big in independent horror. By the way, I saw that they're selling Art the Clown costumes at Spirit Halloween. Oh, yeah. That's when I knew I was like, okay, it's past the hardcore and it's casual. Like casual people, Art the Clown is mainstream now.
Oh no! I mean, when your merch game is hidden, think about those. Daniel Leone, like think about, okay, he signed a contract for a distribution. He didn't sign it like the company he's with. They're big, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? They're not. Like A24 didn't hit him up, or Neon, or Lionsgate, or certain whatever, but he's smart, and I bet you the residuals he get for merch, take the merch game, and then with the movie shit, and then also the merch game. I said, boy, I mean, like Christopher, man, Teddy Cuddles, boy, get it in. Mm-hmm. Get that merch game. That's a good idea,
Well, we have cookies in our crowd.
Be clever, dude.
Yeah.
I can't wait for my cookies, man. I cannot wait for my cookies.
Oh yeah, they're gonna come. They're coming. The cookies are not for sale anymore, but because we make
cookies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Teddy Cuddles right over here. One of the perks for our crowdfunding campaign that actually ended last week. I had a special perk sponsored by a baking company, Nefarious Confections, for Teddy Cuddles cookies.
Oh shit!
And they're delicious. They're delicious cookies, and we sold over 3 dozen of the cookies. Actually, we sold over 3 dozen cookies, and they're going to be that perk actually just ended because we're going to bake them and have them released in time for Halloween. Travis ordered some, so you're gonna get them. You're gonna get your 4 by Halloween. And if enough people like it and they want to bring it back, because to shamelessly plug I didn't get on here to shamelessly plug myself.
No, ain't no shame, bro.
No, it's what you're here for, man.
But Teddy Cuddles is where basically the film is about a man by the name of Jacob, who he purchases a Teddy Cuddles teddy bear, which used to be this really, really popular toy. And then somebody came out with a horror movie about a teddy bear killing people, and everyone was scared of it. Nobody wanted to buy the toy anymore because he just happened to look like Teddy Cuddles. And now Teddy Cuddles is really angry, and Teddy Cuddles kills everybody because he's just mad that nobody loves him anymore. So my main character, Jacob, buys a Teddy Cuddles teddy bear. He brings it home. He's all happy about it because he thinks he's going to sell it for a lot of money. And this teddy bear turns around and starts murdering him and his friends. That's very basically what the story's about. And we're currently crowdfunding in order to create, not just shoot the film. The short film, the script has won at least 10 film festivals already at this point. Best short script in at least 10 film festivals. And we're crowdfunding in order to create a live action puppet to be on set performing with the actors. So, like, again, big thing about horror. Like, if you're going to, independent filmmakers out there, if you're going to shoot a horror movie, I am very dedicated to practical effects.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, you need the practical effects. Don't use the CGI stuff. Like, stop using the, you know, the blood splatters that the cartoon blood spatters, because it takes out of the realism of your movie. So I'm committed and dedicated to have a puppet, an actual teddy bear puppet, and we're speaking to the industry professionals of the business, like people who have done Sesame Street, people who have done Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, we're speaking to those levels of puppeteers. So our crowdfunding campaign is about making the puppet in order to shoot the film, so we can have a live action puppet on set. And one of our perks, speaking about merchandise, was those cookies. And we sold over 3 dozen. It did really well. And if enough people like the cookies, then we're definitely going to bring it back next year. And this time even offer more than 4. Because our first offer, we only offered 4 per customer. But if we do bring it back next year, we're going to give the option of, you know, you can have 4, you can have either a set of 4, 6, 8, or 12, or a whole dozen.
Nice.
You know, and it's good. And that's one of the reasons as an independent filmmaker that I'm going to keep the merch going. You know, I wanted something that was going to set me apart and was going to make people kind of look at my campaign more. It was actually, I will say this, it's our highest selling perk so far.
That's awesome.
It's the highest selling perk so far. And a lot of people were, and not necessarily people who are horror fans too, like people who just wanted to buy cookies. So yeah, like horror filmmakers out there, find something. And when I was making my campaign, I kept thinking, like, what can I do to set myself apart? How can I create something that, you know, I could kind of bring back at some point? And luckily, I had a connection with Nefarious Confections, and she made these cookies for me. So merchandise is very important. Finding a brand, finding something that can set you apart is very important in this business when it comes to making independent.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's a good concept.
And again,
I like puppets, and I got a puppet idea. I got a puppet concept in my head that I'm looking to do hopefully someday. But to get a good puppet, you need a nice budget. So that's something.
That's what we've raised over 3,000 so far.
There you go, man.
We've got enough. I haven't even posted this yet. I'm going to post it after Labor Day, but we have enough for the head bust, and we have enough for the mechanics inside that head bust.
Oh shit! So, yeah, man.
So you know we're going to keep on going.
Yeah, no, might as well. Yeah, man, that's awesome.
We're going to keep on going, and so that would be my advice to the independent filmmaker. You know. And again, another thing about Teddy Cuddles, because everyone's going to be like, "Oh, why isn't it?" No, that's just like Chucky, you know. Like, and
no, it ain't. Chucky ain't a bear.
Yeah, the thing is, Chucky is a possessed dog.
Niche, Christopher, CEO. Yeah. Call you CEO. CEO, niche. You have a niche.
Right.
Think about them Puppet Master. Those guys are nuts. They're fanatics. Like one of my actors, Bill D. Russell. He's in one of the Puppet Master movies. He's in the movie for 5 minutes and he dies. And he uses that character and goes to cons and people goes nuts for it.
Right.
You got puppets. You got Chucky. You got this. You got that. That's your niche. You got that. You have conversation with the puppet community and people who's into horror and they like puppets and stuff like that. There you go. You got the freaking live teddy bear fucking people up. That's where it's at. I'm intrigued. Like I said, I love puppets. I love movies about puppets. I don't get like we're never gonna reinvent the wheel. This is literally there's 100 years of horror. Go watch Tubi. There's horror. It's films on my watch list from 1937. So let's break that all down. Horror movies from 1937. So we're not gonna reinvent the wheel. Yes, there's people gonna say, "Oh, is that Ted pissed off?" You know, people say, like, "Is that Ted pissed off that night?" Like, no, you making a movie about a bear fucking people up. That's a niche. You have something in that. So, yeah, man, it's great. You know, I'm sold.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, I'll take some insulin and buy your cookies. Because I got diabetes.
Definitely check out crowdfunder.com/TeddyCuddlesHorror.
Yes.
That's our crowdfunding campaign. Definitely check it out. I mean, Teddy Cuddles, it's, what is it?
Oh, sorry. Same thing. Yeah.
Definitely check it out. Crowdfunder.com/TeddyCuddlesHorror. Find me on Instagram, CEO Film Production. And go on Facebook. If you go on Facebook, type in Teddy Cuddles, type in Slumber Party, type in Meat. Meat is actually a short film that I did a couple of years ago. It's previous to I didn't go on this podcast to talk about myself. You know, I hope I'm not like.
No, I'm giving everybody a chance to plug you before we wrap up. So that's what we do here.
Again, when you talk about dedication to practical effects, I personally think for the independent filmmakers out there, a dedication to practical effects is exactly what is something that you need to do, and you need to find a way. And when it comes to Meat, for example, Meat, it's about a young girl who cannibalizes other people in order to remain beautiful.
Oh shit. I'm down.
She cannibalizes other women in order to be beautiful.
That's dope.
And it was done before Slumber Party. It's done before Teddy Cuddles. And one of the best things about that movie is that when you look at the movie, not to give the ending away, but all the blood and gore you see in that movie, none of that is prosthetics. It's all actual 100% cooked and seasoned food that my co-producer, Amanda, she spent hours cooking all of it. There's intestines, those intestines that you see inside that movie, it's hog casing stuffed with spaghetti noodles. And what I'm telling you, she cooked and seasoned the spaghetti noodles. She cooked and seasoned the hog casing. She stuffed it herself. And it's that dedicated. I think the liver, what is the liver? That's actually a really, really large cooked and seasoned piece of chicken, a piece of chicken breast. And she cooked it, she seasoned it. She didn't skimp on anything. Like, she didn't just be like, okay, let me cook this real quick and make it as bland as possible, but just to like get it out there. No, like, she took her time to cook that stuff.
So as y'all was filming, y'all took y'all lunch breaks.
Oh yeah, like oh yeah, it was.
You was already like lunch break. All right, let's eat some gut.
Yeah. So
you don't have to worry about that.
And that's what you got to do. Like, you got to find, and Meat is now, because of those scenes, Meat is now a 4-time best kill winner at film festivals.
Cool.
You know, I'm sad that I missed it because I was at Carolina. I was at that Monster Party. I didn't even know it was screening. I wish I would have. Yeah.
Both Meat and Nightmare, they both screened at Mad Monster this past weekend. Both Meat and Nightmare.
Oh, so they still doing a festival run?
Oh yeah, both Teddy Cuddles, Meat, and my other short film Nightmare, which is a part of Slumber Party, which is an anthology film.
Okay.
Again, I don't mean to talk about myself this entire thing. I kind of feel a little bad, but
And I want to give a plug too. By the way, Teddy Cuddles is also a selection at the Magic of Horror Film Festival, sponsored by the Horror Realm.
That's awesome.
yes.
Yeah.
And thank you, Magic of Horror. You know that's really awesome. But yeah, again, talk about merchandising. The kind of the importance of merchandising when it comes to Nightmare. Nightmare is a short film within my anthology film called Slumber Party. SlumberPartyTheMovie.com, everybody, if you want to hear it. SlumberPartyTheMovie.com. Nightmare is a short film that is about a young woman who is slowly losing her mind and her memories and her life force to a haunted doll within a lucid nightmare. There's no blood, there's no gore, but there's the doll. And the Diana doll, I didn't realize I'd be talking about this, or else I would have brought the doll and put her on camera. I think I had the doll on camera when we talked, Travis, last time.
Yes, it's on the
that nightmare doll. That Diana doll, the Diana doll, I now bring it with me to every, and I'm just recently starting to go to more conventions and more. I would have actually been to Mad Monster, but I unfortunately couldn't make it at the last minute. But that Diana doll, when I went to the events that I've been to this year, and I had that doll in my hands, I didn't have to approach people. People came to me. They were like, "Oh my God, that doll is amazing! Like, what is this doll?" I was in the Halloween, the New York Halloween warehouse in Union Square for a Shockfest Film Festival event or their winter barbecue, and I brought the doll, and there were people walking up to me, and they're like, "Where did you buy that? Like, I want one. Like, where is that in the store? I want one." I was like, "I didn't buy this. This is handmade for my film." And they're like, "What?" And then all of a sudden, like, the Diana doll was an excellent conversation starter, so much so that I now literally bring it with me everywhere I go. And I was in New Jersey for the Jersey Devil Film Festival, and I literally had people stopping me on the streets wanting to take a picture of me with this Diana doll. And, you know, I'm not a famous filmmaker. They just look at this doll and they're like, "What is this thing?" And people want to take pictures with me. So to have and now she's like this mascot that, you know, that's helping to promote, you know, that's helping to promote Slumber Party.
Yeah.
So it's very important to find that part of your work and what you're doing that really stands out, that can really like get people like complete and total. I had a child who actually turned out to be an aspiring actress stop me on the street, grab her parents and say, "Look at that doll. Can I speak to this guy?" Stop me on the streets and talk to me and want a picture with me because I had this doll in my hands.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very important for all filmmakers out there to find something about your work that or make something that has a quality, that has a value, that you and everybody says like, "Oh, my work has value. I have this, I have that." Stop kidding yourself.
You got to stand out.
Yes, not just because you like it doesn't mean everybody else will.
Yeah.
You know, find something that really makes you stand out. Find something that really sets you apart, and use it. You know, you will literally never see me at a convention now without Diana. Without it, unless I can't put her on a plane, this Diana doll is going to come with me everywhere. And I got to admit, I'm not the type of guy who just walks up to people and be like, "Hey, how's it going? My name is Christopher Outridge, blah, 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 blah." You know, that Diana doll, she in a lot of ways does the talking for me.
Speaking of movie with niches, tomorrow I will be tomorrow I will be doing a review of. It's called Air Fryer Slaughter. It's a killer air fryer. So,
I saw that at a film festival, actually.
How was it?
Oh,
you gotta watch a review tomorrow.
Okay.
no, watch the Travis review on Horror Realm. I am not going to review the film.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, yeah, but that's once again, that's a perfect example. It's like you got the killer couches, you got the killer pancakes and donuts, and
I saw one. I saw there's a crowdfunding one for like a killer dick. I'm looking like, what?
Oh, that was Boys.
Have you seen that one?
I've seen it. I've seen. Are you talking? I've seen the movie.
It's called like Erectile or something like that. It's something.
Erecting the Monster. I gotta tell you.
If there's a killer condom movie, why can't there be a killer penis movie?
There is.
There you
There's
go.
also a killer vagina movie called Teeth.
Like I like Erecting a Monster. It's shout out to John. It's good. It's campy. It's funny. It's got the gore. It's charming. It's ridiculous and charming.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's fun. It's fun. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like the beauty of horror films is you can take it in so many levels. You can take drama. You can put drama and horror in the same category. You can put comedy and horror in the same realm. You can put slapstick. You can put gore and absurdity.
Action.
So action. There's action horror. So it's like, I mean,
you can have kitty horror too, like with a Goosebump TV show,
right?
Like horror movie for kids,
right?
Horror is a magical world where you can get away with a lot, and be good. Like you can't have a serious dramatic piece about a killer penis.
No,
you can't. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like you can't have this.
I will.
Like I have a dream that one day my penis is going to erect itself from my body and snap off your head. Like you can't do that. You can't have a Western.
Man, fuck that comment.
I got a review. Which is one of my highest reviews. The movie's on Tubi. It's called Rectuma. It's a killer ass that is and it's campy and it's out there.
Yeah, but you can do so much with horror like that, and again, like you're saying, Chris, horror should be fun. But please tell a goddamn story and make your characters mean something. Make it can be fun, but make it mean something, even if it's on the smallest level. As hey, I'm gonna make this clown compelling, but I'm gonna make Art the Clown compelling. But who the fuck cares about anybody else in this film? You know, and if you're gonna do that, make this man compelling. Make him so that people actually care about Art the Clown. Don't just.
For a guy who don't say words, I mean, he definitely makes himself,
But
his thing, horror is absurd. It's silly. Sometimes it's stupid, and like. Graveyard Shark.
Yeah.
Though their goal is not to make things thought provoking, and it's stupid in a good way, and you get that. Now, that's like I said, there's so many. They talk about. I hate the word elevated horror and all these. And speaking of like meats and cannibalism, check out the movie Raw. That movie is gory and so good. You saw that, Peter?
So what?
Saw the movie Raw.
Yeah,
That's
so
the movie, right?
I haven't seen
Raw.
it. I haven't
Great
seen-
movie. Great movie. Check that movie. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. It's another French movie.
Yeah. I
Hopefully I go to Paris one day and say,
Oh.
yeah, I like your fucked up movies.
Oh, hey, Jen, I gotta go now. I gotta do some shopping.
Okay, no problem.
Peter, give us everyone a plug. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Dorn Ravlin and also my YouTube channel, dornravlin@gmail.com. And I definitely look forward to seeing your guys' work. It was great talking to you all.
How do you spell that?
Oh, my last name?
Dorn. Yeah. How do you spell your Instagram?
Oh, Dorn Ravlin. DornRavlin.
Dorn.
And I'm pretty easy to recognize. You'll probably see me in like my time in New York. Hey, Chris, you on Instagram too?
Yeah. I think
Chris,
I found
Chris. Oh,
This
yeah.
Chris.
Yep.
This Chris.
Oh, yeah. I'm on.
It's
Chris. Just look up Chris Shern, SAGRN on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. So just look up Chris Shern. It's two of us. It's me and this white dude. We're friends.
Yeah,
My name's Chris Shern. And Kissing Castle Productions. Just look up Kissing Castle Productions on Facebook and Instagram. I'm pretty much on Facebook and Instagram.
And we can find
YouTube, but not too much.
And Chris Shern, we also can find your movie on Tubi as well. Is it on any other stream channels?
Yeah. It's on Tubi. It's on. It should be on Plex. It's on Apple TV, but just go to Tubi. Everybody got Tubi. Go to Tubi. It's called Evil Lurks. It's a psychological horror film.
All right, I'll check that out.
Cool, thank you. I'm gonna take all y'all stuff out too, man. I mean, you said CEO. You said your stuff is still at. On
yeah.
No, it's on YouTube. My movies are on YouTube.
Okay, cool, Peter. Yeah, I'm gonna check your stuff out.
Meat and Nightmare are not on YouTube because they're currently in film festivals right now.
Cool.
So I had to take them off. But you can follow my stuff at CEO Film Productions and Instagram, and then also if you look up my name on Facebook, Christopher Eric Outridge, you can find me. Meet the Horror Film. You can find me slumberpartythemovie.com, and then Slumber Party on Facebook, and then Teddy Cuddles. If you find me on Instagram, if you look up my name, Christopher Outridge, on either Instagram or Facebook, you'll find my page. My face is there, and trust me, there's a whole bunch of stuff tagged for my movies. You'll have no problem finding anything that I'm doing.
Sweet. Okay. Well, listen, Peter. I hope to see you in California the first of the year. Chris Shern, I hope to see you at Days of the Dead in November in Chicago. I'm going to be there.
I'm hoping to do it. I've been thinking about it. I know my one of my actors who's actually in Evil Lurks, the guy who played Rich, the creepy old.
Yes.
Yeah, Bill D. Russell should be there. So if I'm not there, he's going to be representing. He's going to be rocking the Vic Effect shirt. So we're going to have our crowd fund. We're going to launch our crowd fund sometime in October. I'll start letting people know, after Labor Day, because we're going to be doing a crowd fund with that. We've been shooting it, but some things we want to try to do. And the goal is to try to get the premiere by March. So I'm hoping within what I'm trying to do logistically with distribution and stuff like that. But one of the main points of the crowd fund is we want to put the movie in theaters because the movie's about sound, and we're gonna mix the movie at 5.1 surround sound. So I don't want people watching my movie on the fucking phone. I want them in a theater watching, and
that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes, I mean I'm 45 years old, man. I still like theaters. I'm cool with streaming and shit. Peter, I miss video stores as well. And I'm starting to collect Blu-rays and DVDs again. So, because I don't know, it's just I like putting work into something sometimes and just doing it.
I love physical media.
Yeah, and that's another key and physical media is dying off in certain ways, but it's not gonna. I don't think it'll ever die off in the horror world.
Yeah.
In the horror world, especially, you're not gonna. People gonna want VHS and DVD.
DVD. There's avid collectors, collectors who buy stuff from Blue Underground and Severin.
Yeah.
If I had more space, I would get more of that stuff. Or if I had a player that could play more Arrow Video stuff, like I got one Arrow Video.
And also since I'm a musician, I put a lot of time into my music. So I'm also I'm also gonna have the score of my movies available. I'm gonna have physical copies of Evil Lurks and the score. The score ain't on Spotify, it ain't on Bandcamp. There's 49 songs, and the movie is, about an hour and 44 minutes. So I have 49 tracks
Nice.
for the movie, because originally the movie was edited to 2.5 hours, and then I had to cut it down to an hour and 44. So I have the soundtrack, and also I might as well just show it. So I got the Evil Lurks, pretty simple, and then I got the soundtrack. I know it's kind of dark, but I have the soundtrack, and then I have the movie. So,
Love it.
Yeah. So I will be having that available. If you want to reach out to me, I'll let you know. I also play in a band called Invisible Cartoons, so I'm going to be selling my shit there too. On top of Invisible Cartoons. This is
Where are you located? Where are you located, Chris?
I'm located in Aurora, Illinois, 40 minutes out of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So I play in the band. We call ourselves Smile Rock. It's positive, uplifting, fun, rock, pop, funky type music. Then I make horror films. So
Good.
But that's my plug and all that stuff, man. You guys are awesome. I'm glad, Travis, you did this. I'm glad you invited me to your show.
Yes.
The same amount of time we could have watched Terrifier 2. That's how long we've been on this show so far.
Exactly. But this is more fulfilling. It's more fulfilling.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Actually, that's something that he said. Actually, this conversation for maybe your next roundtable is, what would you consider a good time frame to tell a story?
Ooh.
Oh,
because that's I don't think that's even a 2-hour conversation.
I'll tell you 90 minutes.
90 minutes.
90 minutes or less. The first cut of Evil Lurks was 2 hours and 27 minutes. I said, "Fuck, man!" I had to cut scenes out. So the DVD would have all the deleted scenes that I cut out, and minus credits, it was 2 hours and 37 minutes. Vic effects, I wanted it between 85 to 90, 95 minutes. It ended up being 99 minutes. But that still ain't bad, though. That ain't terrible.
Bad.
Still less than 2 hours.
It's not 2.5 hours.
Between 75 to 90 minutes, your movie should be. So I just answered that question. So
as a watcher, I 1% agree too. And CEO, I look forward to seeing you hopefully in Virginia at the Magic of Horror Film Festival.
Yeah, I'm certainly going to try. Unfortunately, my work schedule isn't as forgiving as most. So I'm certainly trying to. I've actually made it a point to myself. If I can't do it this year, I'll definitely start doing next year. But I do, again, for the same point that what Chris was saying, I do want to make a lot more of these conventions. So I am trying to make it out there in Virginia. There are other film festivals that I am trying to make it out. It's just literally a matter of scheduling, and I'm literally putting all the effort. I unfortunately couldn't make it out to Mad Monster. There was very much a last minute cancellation because I was supposed to be there. But I am certainly trying to make it out there for Magic of Horror and then other film festivals as well. So
awesome.
Peter, all your stuff is on. I'm sorry, one more thing. Peter, your stuff is all on just YouTube, right?
Well, I'm sorry, what's that?
Is all your stuff on just YouTube or?
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you working on some
good stuff.
Crowdfund?
What's that?
You got a crowdfund for something new you working on?
Yeah, I got it. Well, that crowdfunding just ended a few days ago, but I'm starting a cyberpunk short film called Phoenix Tears.
Oh shit! I like cyberpunk.
And we're thinking of restarting our crowdfunding campaign, but this was my first. This movie and the previous one being the thriller I'm working on called Till Your Last Breath, and all Matujala movies. That was one of the first movies I crowdfunded, And I guess maybe in the next conversation we can talk about like which crowdfundings you all prefer. But yeah,
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's cool that you in a giallo, man. That's if you decide to watch Evil Lurks, I definitely play with the color palettes based on Mario Argento's style and stuff like that, rain and shit. I'm looking forward to all y'all stuff, man. This was fun as hell.
Oh yeah, I want to check out you guys' stuff too.
It's nice to know someone who actually knows what a giallo is.
At first, I thought it was a dessert, but then I looked.
You cannot.
Right, I'm done.
That was a good one. That was good. All right, listen, guys. Listen, it's always a blast having you guys on. Listen, everyone, please check out. There's some great filmmakers right here. Please check out the work. Support their campaigns. Support indie horror. By the way, once again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel too. Support me.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Everyone, this has been another fun edition of the Indie Horror Roundtable Live. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.